Hey, what's up guys? Adi here with a new Web Design Tuts Plus video tutorial. Let me just start by apologizing for the delay on this new video. I I needed a little break uh, last week just to recharge my batteries, so to speak. So I'm back now with day 4. And today we're going to be coding some additional pages like gallery, full width, and contact for our basics magazine theme. Now, these pages aren't coded yet, nor do I have the PSDs for them. So we're going to be starting with a blank page and kind of build it up. So you guys hopefully will get a different perspective on how you can code a page. Yeah, enough talk. Let's start coding. All right, we are back, and the first thing I want to do is um, give you a quick tour of TextExpander, or not tour, maybe tutorial, because I've had quite a few people ask me in the comments, how do I get these CSS comments, or how do I get the lorem ipsum text. Um, so I'm using a tool called TextExpander, um, and it's very easy to use. You just um, put in your content here. For instance, if you want to use some dummy text, you go to lipsum.com or whatever, and you copy that and you paste it in the content section right here, and then you give it an abbreviation, and after that, every time you type that abbreviation, it will expand to the full content, to the full text. For instance, um, for this short lipsum, as I called it, the abbreviation is SIPSIM, and it's going to paste this. So if I go back to Coda and I type in SIPSIM, I get this. And I have a few snippets here for I have 3 of them for a short, medium, and long dummy text paragraph. I have one for jQuery that includes this, one for the HTML5 starter, and one for the blank CSS comment. And you can just put in whatever you want. It's a very useful tool. And if you're wondering why I chose these abbreviations, well, I don't want to type jQuery, for instance, and instead get this, right? So uh, the general advice is to give the abbreviation a name that you're less likely to actually type. For instance, I would probably never type jQuery unless it's a mistake, or HTML, or B blank, right? So I hope you got the idea. Okay, that's enough for the TextExpander tutorial. Uh, let's take a look at our website and what we've done so far. So we have the home page here. It's completely coded, except for the slider, which will be done in day 5. And then we have the blog post title. I'm sorry, the blog post page, um, which again is completely coded as well. So let's see what we need to do. Gallery, full width, and contact. So I think we should start with the full width page, since it kind of extends to the gallery page. So let's begin with that. Go back to Coda, and then let's go ahead and duplicate index.html, or actually first um, let's put in some real hrefs to the anchor tags in the menu. So we'd have fullwidth.html, contact HTML, and let's call this gallery HTML. Let's go ahead and copy this, paste it in the blog single page, and then duplicate the index HTML. And let's call this full width. Bit of a typo there. Full width. Okay. Close this, and let's go ahead and refresh this. So now we have the full width page, and the first thing that we need to do is show the active menu item. So full width ID active menu item. So we would get this. Okay. Okay, let's see what next. The full width will obviously have no slider, or the slider will be hidden. But for now, I'm just going to delete it, and we'll come back in day 5 and we'll just put the slider back in. So so far we get this. And being a full width page, of course, we won't have columns and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and change some stuff here. Let's get rid of the articles and the sidebar. So sidebar goes up to here, and then the see both as well. Okay. So we end the div here, and let's call this full width section. Okay. Right. And let's see what else. The footer stays the same. The breadcrumbs, let's call this full width. Okay, so this is just our basic page that we start off with. So let's see what a full width page could have, and I'm talking about the kind of page that it kind of showcases the elements of a WordPress theme. I'm sure many of you are familiar with ThemeForest. So most of the themes on ThemeForest, when you look at the full width page, you see uh, all the elements that the buyer can use to customize its website, right? You see headings, and you see paragraphs and separators, and you see block quotes, and you see 1,000 short codes and columns and sliders and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to keep it very, very simple. So we're just going to showcase, I'm thinking maybe some just the headings, maybe 2 columns with some images right and left aligned, maybe a block quote, and maybe some separators, and that's pretty much it. I don't want to complicate it too much. So let's start off with the headings first. So we would have, let's see, h1 heading 1. Let's paste this a couple of times. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we would have the headings. Let's check it out, looking good. and let's see what else. I was talking about some images. So images, let's say img source, and I'm gonna use the image placeholder service for this. I think that was called Lorem Pixum. So lorempixum.com slash, let's make them, I don't know, 150 by 150 from abstract, something like this. Alt, let's give it an alt of abstract. Okay, and then we would have, I'm thinking a short or medium sized paragraph, so let's put this in, something like this. Copy it, paste it again. Okay, so we have paragraphs and images. I think the images are a bit too much. Maybe 120. 120, 110, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we must have two styles here. We must have the left align and the right align. So let's put in a class of, let's give it a good name. Let's call it image left or img left. Let's try with img left and img right. Okay. So let's go to master CSS in the general styles section. And let's see, we have img dot img left, which is floated to the left, and then let's see what else. We need some margins, of course, just to push the text kind of on the right. So margin, I think margin right should be about 20 pixels. Okay. And then img right. This one is gonna be float right, margin left, 20 pixels. So let's go ahead and check this one out. Okay, looking almost good. Almost good, except I still think those images are a bit too much. So let me try with 100. Okay. So the problem that we see here is that what we just did kind of messed up the whole layout, but that's caused by the fact that we have floating elements and we're not clearing that float. So let's try the following. I think I want these images to, the image and paragraphs to be placed into columns. So let's do this. Div with a class of 1/2. Okay. Let's go ahead and copy this. So this is going to be img right. Right. Refresh. Okay, now we see that our image and paragraphs are both placed inside a column each that occupies about 50% of the available space. Okay, now now we have a even bigger issue here with the layout, because now we have the two divs, the two columns, which of course are floated, and the float isn't cleared. So uh, one way to do that is go div class see both, and you get this. So as you can see, the floats have been cleared and the layout is now back to normal. However, let's make this class of see both into something more useful. Um, I'm thinking I I will of course have um, additional content here on the bottom, and that content needs to be separated. So what I think I'm going to do is this. Instead of div class see both, I'm gonna do, let's try HR, horizontal rule, and that will just uh, draw a line, or it should draw a line. Um, but the way to combine these two, the HR and the div with the class of see both, is go HR overflow hidden. I'm sorry, not overflow hidden. Clear both. And theoretically, that should take care of it. And yeah, it does. So now we have this new tag, HR. Well, it's not new, it's been there for years, but it's the first time we've used it in the theme. So we have the tag, which acts as a separator, and at the same time it clears the float from the elements on the top. So that's a very good thing to have. Now I want to style this a bit because it's kind of thick here and it just doesn't look the way I want. So um, apart from clear both, let's try this. Height 1 pixel, and if I remember correctly, we need to set the border top to none, and then the border bottom to 1 pixel solid, and the color, let's grab the color from the breadcrumb separator, from this one right here. So let's scroll down. Let's see, breadcrumbs, border, I think this is the one, DDEOE3. So let's see if we got this right. Okay, that looks pretty good, and that's exactly what I want. So um, we still have an issue here. Hold on, let me just put in some margins. So margin, we can do this in two ways. We can have a single margin of about 30 or 40 pixels, either on the top or on the bottom, or we can have 20 on the top and 20 on the bottom, so it's symmetrical. So I think I'm gonna do that. So 20 on the top and bottom and none on the sides. So let's check that one out. And this doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? It should be pushed down. So let's see, div, and HR. HR is clear both. Height is 1 pixel. I think the margin isn't displayed properly because we are setting the clear both on the actual element and not before it. Let's try this. Take this out and add another div with a class of cboth here, just to test this theory. Yep. Okay, so that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Okay, so I think the easiest solution, so that we won't have that many divs and stuff like that, is go ahead and add uh, overflow hidden to this div. So let's go to master CSS. Let's go down here and create a new section. Call it full width. So we'd have div with an ID of full width section, was it? I think yes. And overflow hidden. Let's check it out. Well, it cleared the floats, but the rest isn't very good. Let's see why. So the HR isn't displaying. It's not displaying. Or it is displaying. Yeah, here is our HR right here. Okay, so that doesn't have a proper width. Let me just go to Firebug to confirm that. So 1/2 and HR. There we go. That's our HR right there. That's 2 by 2 right now. And just to give it a full width, all you need to do is set display to block. And theoretically that should span on the entire width, but it doesn't. So why doesn't it do that? So 1/2, we cleared the float. The overflow is set to hidden. Display is set to block. Height is 1 pixel. Border top, border bottom. Let's set the width to 100%. And doing that works. Okay, let's get rid of this then and keep width 100%, and that will cause it to span on the entire width of the page. But if we do that, the margins aren't being displayed properly. Let's see if Firebug can tell us something that we can use. So div 1/2 HR. Okay, so as you can see, we have the margins. The CSS um, properties are correct, but they're not displayed. Hmm. And I think it has something to do, I mean, it probably has something to do with the floating elements. So if we grab the HR and bring it up like this, it's gonna display properly. It will have the margins that we need. Huh. Let's try something else. I'm just curious about something. Div class see both. Let's see if this has any effect. No, it doesn't. I was afraid that it might have something to do with having floated elements inside floated elements, but it doesn't seem to make any difference. However, if we put one of those divs just before the HR, it's displayed correctly. So if we do that, we don't need the overflow hidden here. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the only solution. It should have worked actually, but for some reason it doesn't. Hmm. Let me just try something else. So we have full width section, and instead of the HR, let's try it with a div. So div with a class of, let's call this basic separator, and the basic separator will have let's see, height 1 pixel, so pretty much the same as the HR, a border top of 1 pixel solid red just to test things out, a margin of 20 and 0, so hide border top and margin. Okay, let's try that one. Okay, and the last piece, clear both. Now it's the same exact thing, even if we set display block to it, the margin isn't displayed properly. Okay, bad idea. So let's go back to our see both and HR. Okay, well, I don't think there is an alternative here, but if you guys can think of one, then make sure you write a comment. But for now, I think this is the only solution that I can see. I'm still not sure why it's happening. So the code that we ended up with is using cboth just to clear the floats of the elements above, and then we just have normal separator. Okay, so if we copy the separator on the top like we did before, uh, the margins are displayed correctly. Okay, I'll just keep it like this, and you know, if in the future I'll find a better solution, I'll make sure I'll let you guys know. But for now, this will do just fine. Now, slight problem right here. We have this kind of extra bit right here, and I have the feeling that it's caused by the borders. So instead of setting the border top to none, why don't we set all borders to none? Yep, and that took care of it, as you can see. So just to explain a bit what I did, let's have a look at the normal horizontal rule, right? So I'm not sure if you can see it quite good here. It's kind of blurry, but it has a top border and then a bottom border, and also lateral borders, and that's because it gives it kind of an embossed effect by having the lateral and the top, and then the bottom and the right borders to be the same color. So what I did was I got rid of all the borders. I just kept the top one. I gave the HR a height of 1 pixel. So instead of this, with our new style, it just displays um, like a normal 1 pixel high line, which is what we want. Okay, um, let's move on. So we have the headings and we have the excuse me, and we have the images, and actually there is something I don't quite like about this. So let's try something different. Instead of just putting all the headings here, let's try this. Full width page, and put H1 like this. Maybe something like this. Okay. And let's try and use the other headings in the rest of the layout, so they're not like stacked up right like that. Um, so let's use one here. Actually, it needs to be below the image. So let's use an H2 there, and let's say left aligned image. Okay, that's good. And this is right aligned image, something like this. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. What I'm not happy with, though, is the spacing between the H1 and the top here. And if we look at the other pages, we have a distance between the breadcrumb section and the actual content of, I think, 40 pixel. I think it was 40 pixels. Let me just check out real quick. 39, yeah, 40 pixels. Okay, so what we need to do is go to master CSS, div full width section, margin top 40 pixels. Okay, so now the content is pushed down where it belongs. Okay, so just to spice up the page a bit, let's add a paragraph here. Call it just a very short one with a bit of text, or maybe even a longer one. Okay, something like this. So let's see what else. We have the images, and we started adding some headings, which reminds me, H2 and H2. Okay. And let's see what else. I was talking earlier about block quotes. So let's go ahead and add some block quotes. So we have the images, HR, and then let's say an H3, just to use them all. So H3, call it block quotes example, H3. So we would have a paragraph, fill it up with some text, something like this, and then we would have the block quote, which we can fill it with text again. So let's say something short, something like this. Okay. Now this right here is our actual block quote, but it's not styled in any way, so right now it just looks like ordinary text. So let's go ahead and style it. Master CSS, go up, and then block quote. We would have the following. First of all, color. I want a very light color like this. B, C1, C3. Our very light gray. And then I think font size is gonna be 18 pixels, I think. And then I want it to be italic. So font style italic. Let's check it out. Whoa, that's too big. Try 14, 12, or 14. I think 12 works as well because it already stands out, but let's just use 14 for the sake of this page. Okay, so 14, and let's see, I want it to kind of stand out more. So one particular style that I like about block quotes is the one with kind of a border on the left, but I think it's been kind of overused, so let's try something different. Let's give it some padding. Padding about 20 pixels all around. Let's try 20 pixels only on the lateral sides. So 20, sorry, 0 and 20. Okay, that looks a bit better. Let's see how we can make this a bit more interesting so that we know that's an actual quote. And I think what we're gonna need is some actual quotes. So, oops. So let's go to Photoshop and grab some quotes. Oops. Let's make them, I think, black or a very dark gray, something like this. And let's make them look like quotes. So we need a serif font. So we can use something like this, or maybe Times New Roman has something like this. And no, that doesn't work. Let's see another font. I'm just grabbing some random fonts here just to check out different styles. Okay, that looks pretty clean. So I think, let's see about the size. Something, I think something just a bit smaller. Okay, something like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and duplicate that. Trim it, and then save for web and devices. As a PNG or as a JPEG, it doesn't really matter. So let's see, basics. Let's save this inside IMG and call it, let's see what we should call it. Let's say quote icon.png. Okay, let's go back to Coda. And let's set the background img quote icon.png. Let's say top left and no repeat. Let's check it out. Okay. And I think that's a bit too big. Too big right there. So let's go back to Photoshop and make this just a bit smaller. Something like this. Trim it again. And then save it. So the effect is something like this, which is not bad. I think I quite like it. What we need to do next is add some margins. So margin, same thing as the padding, 0 and 20 on the sides. So we would get this kind of spacing right here. Okay, as for the padding, I think I want more than 20, like maybe 30. So we push the text inside the block quote even more. So the result is something like this. And margin. And actually, let's align this to left and center so that it's always going to be on the center of the block quote. And that is useful when you have like a huge quote. For instance, if instead of this tiny text right here, we do this, right? The background will stay centered. Now, of course, I don't think anyone is ever gonna put a quote this big on his website, but you know, just have it there just in case. Um, so I think I'll stick with something like this. And I keep looking at it, and there's something quite not right. I don't like it. There's something I don't like about it, and I think that's the text. I don't like the text. So let me just try this. Font family. Let me try it with Oswald, which is our condensed font. Okay, and already it's starting to look just a bit better, maybe except for the italic. 12. Nah, it's not working. Go back to 12. I think I'll keep it at 12 pixels. I think the size was the stuff that I wasn't happy with. So I think 12 actually looks good. And after looking at it, I'll keep the background aligned to the top here. So, and maybe make the margins just a bit bigger, like 10 pixels, or maybe 20 all around, just to push it down even more. Okay, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Now, this is kind of long, and it might seem a bit off because it occupies the full width, but for instance, if we just give it a width of 50%, it's gonna look something like this, which is just a bit better. I think it looks kind of good. So let's just make a quick test. For instance, grab the block quote and let's put it here in the second column just to see how it looks like. So paragraph, and right below it we have the block quote. Okay, I think that looks pretty good, except maybe the spacing on the left here shouldn't be there at all. So on the right, I'm sorry. So padding 0, 30, say 0, 0 again, and 30 pixels. So I just took out the right padding right there. Let's see what happens if we take the left margin out as well. So we'd have 20, 0, 20, and 20. And that will span on the entire width. let's take this and see it in a different place as well. Okay, I think I quite like that. What if we put some other paragraphs around here, like oops, like some short paragraphs. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Alright, so block quote, I think block quote example. Huh. Now, these two look fine because they have like lots of text and stuff. But this, if you can see, um, the icon here, I'm sorry, a bit of a brain freeze there. The icon here is cut off. Its bottom part is cut off, and that's because the actual height of of the block quote is smaller than the height of the icon. So let's see how we can take care of that. Let's see, master block quote. Let's give it a height of 100%. 100%. And that doesn't help with anything. Now, there is a property, it's called min height, and we can set it to the actual height of our image, which is 2115. So if we set min height to 15 pixels, um, it will set the minimum height of the element to 15 pixels no matter what kind of content you have inside that element. But the problem with min height is it doesn't work in Internet Explorer. So we should probably find another solution for that. So get rid of it. And probably the easiest solution would be just add some padding on the bottom, and that will just push the height of the element just a little more. So you don't need a lot of padding, you just need kind of 2 or 3 pixels just to get rid of this effect right here. So padding, we have top, bottom, which is the thing that we're interested in. Let's go with 5 on the bottom. 5 on the bottom is not working. Oh, sorry. My bad. I need to brush up on my CSS skills. So top, right, bottom, and this is left. So bottom, 5 pixels. There we go. That works. So now we got rid of that nasty effect right there. Okay, let's see what else. So we used some tags here. We used the headings, the H2, the H3. Then we have paragraphs with some images and then some quotes. and we have some separators, and let's see what else. That's pretty much it. Actually, I said I didn't want to complicate this too much, so let's use the H4 and H5 tags as well, just to show people that they can use them as well. So H4, let's add, this is a subheading or a subtitle, something like this, paragraph, something like this, H4, and then an H5. Let's call this another subtitle. Okay. So H4, H5 with some paragraphs, and that's pretty much it actually. And let's see if we can make this just a bit more interesting so it doesn't look so blah, for the lack of a better word. Uh, let's organize this into 3 different columns, I'm thinking. So let's see. You would have the block quote example. So div class 1/3. Oops. 1/3. Okay. And last thing, div with the class of cboth, just to clear those floats. And actually, let me do something real quick. Since I'm using this a lot, let's call it HCOM for HTML comment, something like this. Okay. So now, much faster, much better. Okay, so let's check it out real quick. Oh, div 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. What's going on here? 1/2, 1/4. Oh, okay. So I have 1/2 and 1/4, but I don't have 1/3. My bad. So 1/3. Float left. Width. Width should be 30%. Margin right should be 3%. Let's see. Yep, there we go. 3 different columns. Okay. And we have a problem. we have a problem because we have a div class cboth HR. Oh, no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong piece of code. I was searching for an HR right here, but of course I didn't write it. So okay, that should do it. I just wanted a bit of a separator between this and the columns. Okay, let's see what else we can use here. So we have some images, left and right aligned. So this is basically a magazine theme, so they write a bunch of articles. So they won't probably need kind of toggles and drop downs and stuff like that. Their main focus is on content, so let's see what else they could use. They have all the headings that they need, they have the paragraphs, images, block quotes. They have separators, they have some columns. Maybe they could use some images to go with the columns here. Let's see. Instead of this is a subtitle, let's call it I don't know, column heading, something like this. Okay, so column heading, and let's add an IMG source. Is gonna be Lorem Pixum again, slash so about a third. Let's go with so the width of the page is 960. That's divided by 3. That's 320. Let's try with 300 pixels. 300 by 100 from people. Okay, and that's a bit too much width. So I'm thinking 270 by maybe 70. Maybe sport. I don't think there is sport. Maybe tech. No, hold on. Nature, people, sports. Okay. So you have now you have the images right here. And I think I could use some kind of margin on the top and bottom just to distance them from the heading and the paragraph here. So what I'm gonna do is give all these images a special class. So class is going to be column image, column img, something like this. Okay, and let's copy the alt as well so we don't get validation errors. Okay, so now go down here and we're gonna have img column img, and the only style added to this will be margin, top and bottom, so 20 and 0, something like this. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now the final style of the website is going to have I mean, the images, the final images will have kind of a border around them, but that's going to be covered in day 5. So for now, these will do just fine. Okay, let's see if we need anything else. We have some paragraphs, headings, and some quotes, and some images, and some columns. Oh, I think the full width page is kind of complete now. As I said, I wanted to keep it simple, so I didn't include uh, a lot of stuff on it. Okay. Next, let's see, we have gallery and contact. And let's start with gallery page and leave contact for last. So we're going to go ahead and um, take care of the gallery page. Okay, so one thing that I forgot to do is validate the code that we've written, just to make sure we don't have any errors before we move on. So pop this, and yep, it's valid. Right, so go back to Coda, duplicate full width HTML, and call it gallery. Come on, gallery. Let's close this. Okay, so grab the active menu item ID and apply it to the gallery page item in the menu. So we get this. Okay, so the gallery, again, something very simple. I'm thinking just kind of a grid pattern gallery. So we'd have maybe 3 columns, each having a title and an image, a short description, and then kind of a button here just to read more about it, or click it and open the image in a light box, something like this. So let's go ahead and write the code. Gallery, okay, let's say gallery here. Okay, I guess we could have a short introductory paragraph, and then an HR, and then we would have a list. So UL with an ID of gallery list, and that gallery list will have, let's say, about, let's start off with 6 items, so times 6, and each list item will contain the following: an H4, I think, plus an image that has a source of lorenpixum.com and slash to, what was it, 260 that we used in the full width. Let's see, 270 by 270 by, let's see, about 150. So we need a slightly higher image. Okay, something like this. H4 plus IMG plus paragraph plus plus what else? Plus a link. A href will be pointing to nothing. Okay, so something like this. This is the shorthand structure. So let's go ahead and expand on that. So we have UL gallery list, and let's start putting in some values. Let's actually have a look first, see what kind of images we got. Oh, it's the same. It's the same images. So let's go here, sports. Let me actually. Okay. So sports, nature, transport, was it city, fashion, and the last one is animals. Okay, there we go. So these are our images. Okay, so sports. Let's give it a title. Beautiful landscape. Skylines, fashion. God. I don't know. And then animals. Something like this. Okay, so those are our titles. Let's see what else. We have this, we have the paragraphs. Paragraphs can be very short. So something like this. Let's see. Da, da. Okay. And the link will be, let's say, read more or something. And I say or something because this can be used as a gallery, right? Which can be, its own entity. You can have the images here that will open up in a lightbox or something. But you can also have or use this page as a blog page, have the blog posts displayed in a grid manner. So then the read more button comes into effect. It's gonna, you click it, you go to the blog single page. But I'll just put it there just in case. So let's go ahead and copy and paste those. Okay. So now we have all the elements that we need. Okay. Next, let's style this baby. So full width, create a new section here, call it gallery, and we're gonna say UL with an ID of, what was it, gallery list, and list item. Display inline. I don't think this will work. No, it won't work. Actually, let's do this first. Width 30%, margin right, 3%. So we get this, good. And then no, we must float them to the left. Okay, so we get this. Okay, let's go ahead and clear that float. So div with a class of cboth, hcom, and div. Okay, looking good. Okay, so this is basically our kind of starting shape for the gallery. And let's see what we can do. We can add to each and every image, we can add a class of column img, just to give it the padding, the margin right here. So that's why that class comes in handy all of a sudden. Okay. Paste this in on every single image. So we will get something like this, which I must say I like how this looks like. So let's see what we need. Some more spacing between the rows. So an easy way to do that is just say margin bottom of about 40 pixels, just to push it down a lot, something like this. Okay. All right. So the last thing here, I think, would be to style these links to look like these links, right? They look pretty cool. So let's go to master CSS and try to find that. So article comment, I think we need to look for subscribe here. Let's see, subscribe form input type text. No, subscribe. Where did we define those? Color, oh, there we go. Color info, input type submit. Hold on, so input type submit, value subscribe. Okay, let's just write our own code again. So go back to gallery and let's rename these. Let's give them a class of button link. So class button link, read more. Okay. Copy this. Okay. So a button link is going to be like this. First of all, round corners. So border radius 5 pixels. Actually, I just remembered one of our readers asked me in a comment previously if it's indicated to use the vendor prefixes first and then the original property last. And one of the other readers came up with a link. I'm not sure if I have it opened, but if you check out the comments, uh, you'll find the link to an article that says it's better to use the vendor prefixes first, like Moz and WebKit, and then the original property last, because um, if I remember correctly, the explanation was that in different browsers these do different things. So having um, the, the vendor prefixes first actually makes a difference depending on which browser you're viewing the website in. So uh, if you want more details, go ahead and check out the comments and you'll find that link. So yeah, we have a border radius of 5 um, and we have a padding of I think 8 and 12 pixels. That was the magical number. So that's the button link, and now we need to add some color information. So input type submit and a with the class of button link. Same goes for this, a button link hover. We make the background color white and the text color our blue link color. So a button link hover. Okay, that should take care of it. Let's check it out. Okay, one last thing here. Text underline, text decoration, sorry, will be none. Okay, and then let's add that nice transition that we have here on the subscribe button. So let's see if we can find it somewhere. This one, CSS3 transitions. Background. Whoa, what the heck is going on here? Background color. What did I just do? Okay. There we go, very cool effect. And I think we just need to space this button just a little more. So a button link, just add a margin top for it of about 20 pixels, I think. And it's not working. Yeah, it's not working because of the already existing padding on the anchor tags. It's the old problem I was talking about in the previous videos. So um, let's see, I think a solution would be to set display block to the anchor tag element, and that works. It 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 sees the margin correctly, but it also occupies the entire width, and we don't want that. So um, we're just gonna have to make the margin top just a bit larger, of about 40 pixels. And it doesn't work. This is awkward. So margin doesn't work. Well, it's not floated or anything. It just has an inner padding, that's all. Hmm. Let's view it in um, Firebug. So A button link, read more. Now you see this is the problem with um, this is the problem when trying to make kind of CSS buttons. Uh, you have this weird behavior where it just doesn't display the margins properly if you add a padding to it. So for instance, let me just try one thing. If I take out the padding, no, if I take out the padding, it still doesn't see the margin properly. Could it be from the round corners, I wonder? No, it's not from the round corners either. So why is this happening then? Let's see the structure. We have a paragraph and then we have a button here with the class of read with the class of button link. Well, yeah, it doesn't do that because as far as I know, an anchor tag is not a block level element. So, I mean, you guys saw that when I set display block to it, you know, um, it showed the margins accordingly. But right now, it is not a block level element, so it's not doing anything. So I don't think there's any way around this. I think we just have to set the margin to the paragraph above it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go down here to the gallery and say ul gallery list item paragraph margin bottom about 20 pixels. Okay, and that just pushes the the button down. So I think that's good enough. Um, I don't know what else we can do about it. Maybe add some separators right here. So let's see how that is going to work. So border bottom, 1 pixel solid, and the color was, what was it? Uh, breadcrumbs, there we go. DDEOE3. So Okay, let's check it out. Okay, so now as you can see we have the bottom borders, except we also need to add a bit of a padding. So instead of margin bottom 20 pixels, 40, I'm going to do 20, and then padding bottom 20 pixels. So we're going to get this, which is pretty good. Let's try a larger padding of about 40, so that the distance between this and this will be equal. Maybe 30, something like this. I think this looks pretty good. Yep. Okay guys, so this is basically the simplest form of a gallery with just a bunch of images and a bit of a description and some read more buttons. Um, Now notice the images are not as wide as the actual column, and that's because, as I said, we'll be adding some borders around them in day 5. So we'll come back then and we're gonna give them the exact same size. Okay, well, that was the gallery, and let's grab the code and throw it in a validator just to make sure we didn't mess up anywhere. Looking good. And now we're going to take care of the contact page. So for the contact page, let's go to Coda and grab let's grab the blog single HTML, duplicate it, and call it contact. Okay, close this. And I chose the blog single because we have a sidebar to it. So the contact page will also have a sidebar. Okay, delete the slider. Let's see. Put the active menu item to contact, like this. What else? Collapse, breadcrumbs, you are here, home, and contact. Okay. So main contact section, delete the articles all the way down to here. Okay. So what we get is this basic page with the sidebar. Okay. So let's see what we have. We would have an H1, and I just realized something. I've just realized that the way I thought about this theme was you have H1 in the um, slider section, so each title will be in H1, and I didn't want to use H1 in a different part of the page. These are H2s, these are H4s, and so on. And I just realized I used H1 as the the full width title here. but we also have H1 in the slider. It's not currently shown, but it will be shown. So let's see what we can do about that. We can go to the full width page, and then just change this to H2. But I wonder if that's necessary. Hmm. No, I don't think that's necessary, because what I think I'm gonna do is give up the whole idea, and I've just realized this, is give up the whole idea of the slider in the secondary pages, because, well, it has no point, right? You go to a website, you see the slider on the home page, everything is wonderful. You can go to many different places from the home page, and that's great. That's the home page. It should be a portal for the other pages of the website. But in the secondary pages, I mean, the slider is currently hidden uh, on page load. So I don't think someone will go to read the blog post, uh, and then we'll go, let me just drop down the slider so I can see what's in there. I don't think anyone will do that. That's just my opinion. But with that said, I think the use of H1 as a page title here will be just fine, since I'm giving up the idea of a slider. So um, let me just go ahead and do that real quick so I don't forget. So blog single, no slider here, and then no collapse button here. Um, okay, so we got rid of this. Let's see where else. In full width and gallery, we gotta um, get rid of that as well. So full width. Okay. And then in gallery. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay. Okay, looking good. Okay, so going back to our contact page, we would have H1 that says contact us, and then you'd have a short introductory paragraph that could say something like, fill in the form below to send us a message, and then another paragraph that says, we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks. Something like this. Okay, looking good. And oh, I just realized. Hold on, guys. Blog single, main article should be H1. Okay. So instead of the H2, I went with H1 on the actual blog post page. It's pretty important for SEO as well. So quick change that we need to do here. Article body H1, we lost that spacing that we had between the heading and the image. So we need to go back and see article body H2 and change this to H1. Change this to H1 as well. Go back, and happy days. Everything as it should be. Okay, no more interruptions. We're focusing on the contact page right now. So contact us, we have an introductory paragraph, and then what else could we have? We could have something like this actually. Fill in something like this. To contact us, use the info below, or fill out the form to send us a message. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks. Add an HR, and then we're going to have a list with our contact information. Or we can do this paragraph, and we're going to have address or something. Hold on. Company info. Let's start with this. Company info. Let's put this in strong. Okay. And then paragraph. Let's call it, I don't know, Acme Inc., something like this. Address is going to be, I don't know, something like this. And then email is going to be mail to contact@acme.com. So okay, so that's email. Website is gonna be this, and let's check it out, see what it looks like. Okay, that looks pretty good, except I think it could use just a little more style here. So why don't we divide this into 3 different bits? First one is gonna be the company info with the name and stuff like that. Second one is gonna be the address and the contact information, and the third will contain a Google map. that could work for a company, but let's keep in mind that this is a magazine theme, so we might need to kind of focus on the whole magazine thing just a bit more. So let's see what a magazine needs. I think it needs some departments like or different contact sections, like contact us to submit a story, or contact us uh, to do other magazine-ish stuff. I don't know. Let's start with something else. So div class 1/3 and 1/3 like this. Okay, so let's see. We'd have strong, and let's call this awesome magazine, also inside a paragraph. And then why not write a short bio or a tagline or something like that. So paragraph, and let's say add a short description or the tagline of the magazine here. It can, or no, that's quite enough. And the next one is going to be an anchor tag with a class of link button that says read more about the magazine. What about that? I think that could work. Let's see. Awesome magazine, short description or tagline, and read more about the magazine. Why aren't you displaying properly, my friend? A button link, not link button. Okay. I think I can do without this. So add a short description or the tagline of the magazine here. Additionally, you can read more about us on our, or read more about us here, and that's going to point to the read to the about us page. Okay, quite happy with that. Let's move on. So another 1/3, and let's see, contact info, contact information. So let's see, we have email, and we have website. Well, website, you're already on it actually, so you don't actually need that. But no matter, it's good for SEO as far as I know, just to have links pointing to your website or different pages of your website. So let's include this for now. Okay. Email. The href will be mailed to I don't know, office contact, whatever you want. Something like this. And that's the second column. And then the third, I was talking about a map, but I'm not sure you will need a map to get to a magazine headquarters. If you got something to say, basically you just mail them or something. So instead, let's do this. 1/3, and it's gonna be submit your story. And that sounds like this. If you have something cool to say to us, or if you want your article to be published, use the information below to submit your story. Okay, and then another paragraph. We'll have a look at it and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, looking good. And we can have a paragraph here with an anchor tag that says I don't know, mail to story@basics.com, or your story@basics.com. And let's change this. Email us the story using the address below. Okay, something like this. It doesn't matter. Whoever uses this theme will most likely just use his own text. So this doesn't really matter. I just want to fill in the space here with some text. Okay, and let's see. We need to add a div with a class of cboth, and then close the div, and then an HR, just to separate this content from the actual form. Okay, so we have the contact, the heading, and the 3 columns. And actually, these 3 columns, I think they could use, they need to be swapped like this. So we'd have the submit your story and then some information about the magazine. And actually, let's delete this. If you have something cool to say to us, or email us the story. Okay, this will be the link. So email us the story, your story. Okay, awesome. Contact information, email, website, and for the contact information, let's add this thing. Okay, some last minute styling. Okay, so add additionally. Okay, looking good. Last thing that we need to do is add and style the contact form. Now, to do that, I'm just going to be lazy here and go to the blog single page and get this form because it's basically the same thing. But before I do that, I just realized I have made a catastrophic mistake in the home page here when I tampered with the article body H2s. Okay, so also need to add H2s here. Okay. If you don't know what's going on, when I modified the blog single page and I changed the blog post title from H2 to H1, I also changed the style for it. But in the home page here, we don't have H1, we have H2s, and I forgot to compensate for that. So I just went back to master CSS and I added the styles that we needed for the H2 tags. Okay. So going back to the blog single page, let's grab the form, this one, go to contact, and let's paste it here. So index HTML method post article comment form. Let's say contact form here. Name, email, and message. Okay, change these. Comment, no, not comment, contact message. If you guys can hear the kind of knocking behind me, that's the rain on the roof of my apartment. Sorry about that. Nothing I can do about it. So contact message, submit comment. Let's say send message here. Okay, and everything looks exceptionally well except for the for this form here that isn't styled. So let's go back to our CSS. Let's see, input type submit, article comment form, input type text. Okay, we just need to duplicate these names and say contact form. Okay. text area, article comment form, also the labels, we need those. And what else do we need? We need this. And we need all of these. So contact form, so we have the text focus and the text hover, text area focus and text area hover, and that should be it. Yes, look at that, pretty good. Okay, so your name, your email address, your message, send message, and that was it for our contact form. Now there is one more thing that we can do, which is to add a heading here saying, use the contact form to send us a message and stuff like that. I don't think that's necessary. Everyone who comes to a contact page looks for a contact form, right? They see it, they fill it in, they press the button, and they'll be on their way. So I think that's pretty much it, guys. I can't think of anything else you would need in a contact form, especially on basics on this theme, which should be very, very simple. So just to recap what we did today, we started off with the full width page. We styled some elements here. um, we had some block quotes, and then some HR styling, and then some columns. And then we moved on to the gallery page. We made this cool grid gallery page. And in day 5 we'll be adding some lightbox actions to the images. And lastly, we did the contact page with an introduction, and then some information about the website, and then a very simple contact form. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me just go back up here and get rid of the collapse button and the slider, since I said I'll be taking that out. So yeah, guys, that was it. But for now, yeah, that was the end of day 4, and I think we covered pretty much everything that we needed to cover. We got we got our pages done, and except on the menu. The menu should point to index.html in all pages. So let me just do that real quick so we don't forget. Okay, so index as well. Okay, so gallery goes back to index, full width, contact, and then this goes back to index. Let's grab the contact page code and validate it real quick. Okay, looking good. Um, yeah, I just noticed something that the color of the H1 here is very light. I mean, it's the right color for that heading, but if we take a look here in the home page, um, the color for these is just a bit too dark. And let me just check out something real quick. I remember the color for these links being kind of lighter. Hmm. I don't know, maybe it's just my imagination, but I think I want it lighter, so let me just go back to index. Let's see. Articles, article body, and then H2. So article body H2A. Okay, color is this. But if we take it out, we don't have the right color for it. It just goes back to the original link color. So I'm gonna keep that, but instead I'm just gonna grab the overall color, which is this. And just throw that in. Yep, there we go. So now the color is back to normal. Okay, guys. Well, that was it for day 4. I think it went pretty smooth. I was expecting it to be more, more full of mistakes and headbanging and stuff like that. But I think it went pretty good. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you guys back in day 5. Day 5 is gonna be a bit more complicated than day 4. We'll do some finishing touches then. We'll be coding the slider here, which is quite a bit of work. Uh, we'll be doing some JavaScript just to show and hide this stuff. And we'll also be adding some CSS3 styling to the images, just to give them some very cool borders. And let's see what else we're gonna do. Um, yeah, probably that's it. Oh yeah, we'll add some lightbox. We'll add a lightbox for the images here, and that's pretty much it. The contact form and all the other forms are only going to be functional in the WordPress version. So when I'll be making the tutorial, you'll see how to make them functional in that video. So uh, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in day 5. Bye.